We lost our home, but the family who took us in might be hiding a secret more dangerous than living on the streets. Kindly subscribe to my channel, Tales of Legends. If you love my story, I would love you to hear me again next time. The first breath of air in the Larks' home was a shock to my lungs. It smelled of lemon, beeswax, and a warmth that felt alien and undeserved. Just a week ago, our home had been a charred skeleton of timber and ash. Now, we were guests in a house so immaculate it felt like a museum. My parents, their faces etched with the twin scars of grief and gratitude, moved through the elegant rooms like shadows. My little brother, Leo, blessedly oblivious to the weight of our situation, simply saw a big house with endless cookies. But I, Maya, felt it all, the humiliation of our dependency, the sharp memory of the fire, an annoying, insistent feeling that something was wrong. The Larks, Richard and Clara, were the picture of generosity. They were in their late 40s, with kind eyes and soft, easy laughs. "Think of this as your home away from home," Clara had said, her smile never quite reaching her eyes. They had 2 children of their own, but they were away at boarding school, so our family was given the run of the place. We had clean sheets, full bellies, and a warmth that my parents desperately clung to. But the warmth was a thin veneer. It was the careful way Clara would organize a stray magazine on the coffee table, a perfection that felt less like a preference and more like a rule. It was the way the curtains were always drawn in the late afternoon, casting the living room in a perpetual twilight. And it was the heavy, metal-plated door in the back of the kitchen. "Just an old storage room," Richard had said with a casual wave of his hand. "Best to leave it be." But it wasn't a casual wave. It was a practiced, dismissive gesture meant to end the conversation before it began. Every night, after the Larks had gone to bed, I would creep out of my room and stand by that door. A faint, earthy scent would leak from under it, a mix of damp soil and something else, something like stale perfume and human sweat. And I could swear, just barely, I would hear a distant, mournful note, like a single violin string being plucked. I hope you're enjoying this story so far. If you'd like to hear how the mystery unfolds, please kindly consider subscribing to the channel. The real crack in their perfect facade appeared when I overheard them talking. It was late, and I was trying to find a glass of water when I heard a low, tense argument coming from their bedroom. Richard's voice was a low growl. "They are getting restless, Clara. They want out. We need to move them." Clara's reply was sharp and panicked. "Not now. The police are still sniffing around. The new family might be a liability. We have to be careful." My blood ran cold. The word "the liability" felt like a physical blow. They weren't just hiding something, they were hiding someone. The next day, as I walked by the back of the house, I noticed a discarded piece of paper tucked into the recycling bin. It was a playbill, crinkled and stained with what looked like coffee. The title on the front was faded, but I could make out the words, "The Golden Age of Theatre." On the back, handwritten in what looked like Richard's handwriting, was a detailed list of supplies: food, water, blankets, rope. Below it, a chilling, final line, demand message drafted. "A theater. A basement door. Whispers about police." My parents believed we had been rescued. But I was beginning to realize the truth was far more sinister. We hadn't been saved at all. We had been let inside the wolves' den, and the wolves were now looking at us as a new liability. The silent stage. My heart hammered against my ribs, a panic drumbeat against the silence of the house. The playbill, a mundane piece of paper, was now a blueprint for our nightmare. The Golden Age of Theatre. A chilling irony for a family that seemed to be staging a perfect life while holding real-life captives. I knew with a terrible certainty that what the Larks were doing was a desperate, dangerous game. And my family and I were now a part of their cast. I had to see it for myself. That night, after the Larks had gone to bed, I crept to the kitchen, my bare feet silent on the cold tile. With the stolen key from the floorboard, I unlocked the heavy basement door. The air that rushed out was a foul mix of stale breath and fear, but I pushed forward, down a narrow stone staircase that smelled of damp earth. The stairs led to a small, brightly lit tunnel. The air here was warm and humid. The tunnel opened into a large, cavernous space that took my breath away. It was a theater, built into the earth itself. Rows of dusty velvet seats faced a makeshift stage, lit by a few dim spotlights. But this was no place for a performance. Tied to the stage's old, faded pillars were three figures: a man, a woman, and a boy who looked no older than Leo. Their eyes were wide and terrified, their mouths covered by thick gags. A sudden, jarring sound made me jump, the sound of a door clicking shut behind me. Clara Larks stood there, her soft smile replaced by a hard, malicious grin. "Looking for some entertainment, dear," she said, her voice dripping with venom. "I hope you're gripped by this story. The tension is only getting started. To make sure you don't miss the dramatic conclusion, kindly consider subscribing to the channel." Clara took a step forward, the glow from the stage lights catching the gleam of a heavy wrench in her hand. "The police have been looking for us for months," she explained, her voice losing its softness entirely. "For a job we pulled in the city. The money we make from our productions keeps us off the grid. And now, you know our secret. That makes you a new liability." She lunged at me. The final curtain. I dodged her, scrambling across the cold stone floor of the theater. The wrench clanged against the wall behind me. The terrified eyes of the captives on the stage followed my every move, a silent audience to our frantic dance of death. Clara, a woman I had only known as a kind, gentle soul, was now a relentless predator. I didn't have a weapon, but I did have the one thing she hadn't accounted for, an understanding of their theater. I dodged behind a stack of old set pieces, painted flats of a cityscape, and saw a mess of wires. They were for the stage lights. Thinking quickly, I pulled at them, yanking a bundle free. The lights flickered and then died, plunging the entire space into darkness. Chaos erupted. Clara screamed. The boy on the stage whimpered. I could hear Richard's hurried footsteps coming from a back room. This was my only chance. I fumbled for the stage, my hands finding the dusty velvet curtains. The rope. I remembered the playbills list, rope. The rope holding the captives. I found the boy first. His eyes were wide with terror. I tugged furiously at the knots, and as they came loose, he scrambled away. "Run!" I whispered to the other captives. Now. The commotion in the darkness was our escape. The captives, freed, made a break for the stairs. I followed, but I knew I couldn't leave my family behind. I needed to send a message. I ran for the back of the house, where the Larks car was parked. I knew they used the car's GPS system to track their captive families. I grabbed a small, portable cell phone from my pocket, an old burner I kept for emergencies, and frantically typed a text message. I sent it to my mother. It contained a single, terrifying word: kidnappers. I ran back into the house, and as I did, I saw the flashing lights of police cars outside, their sirens a wailing symphony of salvation. The captives had escaped and had flagged down the police. Richard and Clara were cornered. We were finally safe. The Larks, a family of quiet criminals, were arrested. Their secret, a theater of fear and greed, was exposed. Our lives were forever changed, but we were together. My parents were no longer grateful for a lie, they were grateful for a truth that was hard-won, a truth that I, their daughter, had risked everything to uncover. The streets had been dangerous, but the home we'd found had held a threat far more real and terrifying. Now what would the family that moved to them do? Will they reveal that secret? If it was you, what would you do? Put your thoughts in the comments pane and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you need part 2 of the story, you should also put it in the comment pane.